Okay, so one of the age-old problems for AI and automation has been invoice processing. And what I've discovered is that using Make.com and with a combination with AntiGravity, I can create an entire invoice processing kind of pipeline, basically, that replaces really, really expensive solutions like SAP Concur or any of the other big invoice processing platforms that are really, really expensive that enterprises use. And I've created one in 15 minutes using AntiGravity and Make.com. I'll show you how. Okay, so this is what we want to get to. We want to have an invoice extracted, invoice number, vendor, date, account, currency. I mean, that's all pretty simple. Basically, what we've created with AntiGravity is basically a page that looks like this. All you need to do is drag an invoice into this spot and it'll upload it up to Make.com. Make.com will run and extract to Google Sheets all of the information we need. Now that's all pretty simple, but let's see how it actually works. So if we go back to AntiGravity, if you're not familiar with it, basically is a AI integrated development environment. What that means is basically you can use this to create software simply by typing in simple commands in English. It's very, very simple. In fact, I'm sure it probably supports other languages if you really want to push the points. Okay, so all I've done here is I've given it this instruction. I want to build a front end that allows the upload of an invoice as a drag and drop feature and sends that invoice to a scenario in the Make.com platform for processing via MCP. What it came back with is it thought for 8 seconds, analysed it, had a look at the folder structure. Of course, there's nothing in it at that stage. I didn't give it any more instructions than that. And it started building basically the drag and drop invoice uploader, gave us this implementation plan. It asked if I wanted to use Make.com or N8N. I've previously used N8N MCP on this, and it got a bit confused because it just assumed that maybe I wanted to use N8N, not Make.com as I specified. So I've used, if Make.com is required, it'll need to implement instead of webhook, which is easily enough done. I'll just show you that here. We've created a custom webhook here. It's a step within Make.com. So it's the initial step of the process. You just copy this address to clipboard. I did add a pretend, we'll edit it and I'll show you. I did create a little API key, which you can send using this HTTP header. I just made it just a very simple phrase. I'll delete it before I put this video on YouTube. So that's the webhook, and we give that information back to AntiGravity. And once it did that, I just gave here, stick with Make.com. Here is the API key. As you can see, I just used some rubbish as the API key. And here's the webhook. This is the big long webhook that we gave it. Thought for another 13 seconds. Created these files, which is the index, HTML, CSS styling, and some JavaScript. Incredibly easy. That took all about 30 seconds to create that, and it created this wonderful front end, which we'll look here if we look at the browser. What I can then do is just literally connect it to Make. That's using our webhook. Here we've got a webhook response, which is just a 200, which is an OK status. Just tells the webhook that it's correct and that it's all working. Now, here's the real magic, the Make AI content extractor. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so the invoice source is a file. What this step does is extract the unstructured data of the invoice and turn it into structured data, which is really, really useful for our accounting process. The file name is simply what comes through the webhook, as is the file data. So we'll cancel that because we've already created that. The real magic is what it'll give you. It'll give you the amount due and all this information, invoice total, billing address recipient, billing customer name, vendor name. In this case, it's Make.com because I simply use the Make.com invoice. I'll show you how this works in just a moment. And then we're just pasting it into the invoice in these particular values which relate to what we have here. So what I'm going to do is actually run this. Let's actually get our Make.com scenario running. Let's go Make.com. Let's run that. We'll get a file. Let's have a look. Where's an invoice? There's an invoice there. We'll drag it into the invoice upload, drop it here. Okay, upload successful. So look, make.com's thinking, the extractor's thinking, and it's pasting into Google Sheets. What have we got here? Okay, we've got the invoice number correctly extracted, the vendor name being make, the date. Now I'm guessing that's in an actual date format. We probably need to format that as date. Format that as date, texts. Where do we find this number? Date, we'll try that. Okay, 6th of the 2nd, 2026, amount $18.82 and currency US dollar. Now, there's a lot more information than that you can actually extract, but you want to realize that this is kind of the, well, dare I say it, the holy grail of accounts payable, all done in a matter of seconds using make.com and AntiGravity. It was incredibly cheap. Going back to make, this AI content extractor actually does use a lot of credits, but nothing like the expense of a modern kind of, what would you say, a modern invoice extraction enterprise grade platform, which takes months to install and calibrate for your particular organization, costs thousands and thousands of dollars a year. And here we've done it in seconds, and it cost of pennies really. So I'm really impressed by this Make AI content extractor, and I hope you can find a use for it as well. Thanks.